You are standing right at the threshold of something that will change your entire life. It is not a coincidence that you are here, reading these lines. The universe never sends a signal without purpose. I am Elon Musk, and I tell you, what is about to happen will force you to re-examine every limit that has ever bound you. You think you are just living another ordinary day, but in reality, you are about to step into a turning point that no one can stop. You already feel it, don't you? Something unusual is flooding the air around you, a change knocking so loudly that you cannot ignore it. Do not dismiss it as imagination, because this is the call. Life is no longer whispering to you, it is shouting so that you must hear. The heaviness you have felt recently is not ordinary fatigue, but a signal that the door of destiny is opening. You have stood in the background for too long, giving way to others. Watching them walk a path you knew deep down you were born to walk. How many times have you asked, why did that opportunity go to them and not to me? The truth is not that you were left behind, but that you were being prepared for this very moment. And that moment is now. You need to understand nothing happens by accident. The years of patience, the doors closing in your face, the chances that slipped away, all were part of a greater plan you could not yet see. They were not punishments, but training. That waiting was like a slow-burning fire, sharpening you, hardening you, making you resilient. And now the time has come. The question, are you ready, no longer applies. You do not need to doubt your preparation, because the process has already turned you into the strongest version of yourself. Do you remember the moments you wanted to quit? The sleepless nights when you felt the world turned its back, when every effort seemed meaningless? Those were the moments that forged a hidden power inside you, a strength you did not even know was there until you arrived at this threshold. Every wound, every fall, every tear created the solid foundation beneath your feet today. Without them, you would not withstand the tidal wave approaching. But now, you will not only withstand it, you will ride it beyond what anyone imagined possible. I have lived through this. I am Elon Musk, and I know the feeling of standing in a world that looks at you with doubt. I know what it means to be told you are crazy, that your ideas are impossible. I sat alone in an empty room, no one believing, no one supporting, with only faith in myself. And it was that faith, along with relentless trials from countless failures, that shaped me into someone capable of creating what others could never imagine. You are in that place now. You do not need applause or recognition. This call does not come from the crowd. It comes from inside you. And when you listen, you will know there is no turning back. This is the time to step onto the stage of life. You cannot remain behind, watching others live what you dream of. This call does not wait for hesitation. It screams for action. You feel your heartbeat race, electricity in your veins, as if your body is awakening from a long sleep. That is not mere nervousness. It is the energy of rebirth. When the universe pushes you forward, every cell knows. And right now, you are in that moment. But remember, this call is not just for personal glory. It is bigger. It asks you to rise not just for yourself, but for those who will find belief through your story. Someone needs to see that you overcame the darkness so they can believe they can too. Someone will dare to dream again only because you made your dream real. That responsibility comes with the call. You cannot run, because your choice will ripple outward. You may think you are not big enough, strong enough, wise enough, but no one ever feels ready until the moment forces them forward. I didn't either. When I started SpaceX, I had no certainty. All I had was the burning conviction it had to be done, and I was the one to do it. You are the same. The call does not wait until you are comfortable. It throws you into battle while you are trembling, and in that moment you discover your true strength. Do not try to escape. It is impossible. You may delay, you may pretend not to hear, but the call will grow louder until you cannot hide. Every path you take will lead you back to this moment. You were not born for silence or the sidelines. You were born to be part of something greater, to leave a mark on history in a way only you can. That is why you were chosen. Look back at every year, every step that brought you here. Nothing was wasted. Every event, person, experience, whether joy or pain, was a piece of the puzzle you now see clearly. Put it all together, and you realize everything has led to this call. It is not chance, it is destiny. So face it, the time has come. This is no longer about wanting, but about courage to answer. When life shouts at you, you cannot stay silent. Rise, step out of comfort, and walk into where you truly belong. This call is the turning point. It will not repeat, and you will never forgive yourself if you let it pass. You have waited long enough. Now is the time to act. We often think every slowdown, every lost chance is rejection, but truthfully, delays do not mean denial. They are the time needed to refine you, test your persistence, sharpen your vision, and prepare you for what lies ahead. You may have felt discouraged when things did not move at your pace. You looked around and saw others succeed while you seemed stuck in an endless loop. But deeper, you will see what you go through is meaningful. It is part of the journey to where you truly belong. The monotonous days were the quiet of preparation. The not yet from life never meant never. They were messages you needed more time to build inner strength. When you felt abandoned, you were actually being held back to protect you from a path not ready. Every closed door was not rejection, but protection from collapse before you were strong. I know this. I am Elon Musk, and I know failure stacked upon failure. And I know failure stacked upon failure. SpaceX exploded 3 times in a row. Not only money lost, but spirit crushed. The world called me crazy. But if you ask whether those explosions were fate's rejection, I say no. They were tests, preparing us to stand firm and succeed the 4th time. If success came at first, we might never have built the strong foundation to launch many spacecraft later. Delay is the chance to train deeper, sometimes the very condition needed for true achievement. You must see, every failure, every delay is a reminder you are being refined. You are placed in fire to burn away haste and arrogance, leaving endurance, wisdom, and clarity. If every door opened easily, you would not know how to protect what you have. If every dream came true overnight, you would never learn the value of effort. Perhaps you think, but why so long? Because you must align within before receiving without. If you are unsteady, big opportunities can crush you. But when trained long enough, challenges are no longer burdens, but launch pads. That is why delays are valuable. They never steal from you. They only shift to when you are truly ready. Think back to times you prayed without answer. You thought you were forgotten. In truth, you were being prepared. Each tear watered the seed underground. Each patient wait deepened the roots, so when the season came, the tree grew strong and unshakable. You were not denied. You were placed in a perfect plan where every detail matters. I remember when Tesla nearly went bankrupt. We had weeks of money left. Investors shook their heads, critics mocked electric cars as fantasy. If I had seen delayed funding as rejection, Tesla would have died at birth. But I knew it was a trial to prove belief. And indeed, what came after not only saved Tesla, but changed the entire auto industry. That proved delay is never the end. It is an ellipsis, waiting for you to continue your story. You must remember, being stopped is not to crush you. It is to teach you to listen to intuition, to see the right path. You are trained not to chase easy things, but the right things. Most of all, you learn patience. Patience is not sitting idle. It is keeping faith, moving forward, even slowly, even in darkness. That patience makes the difference. Not one moment in your life was wasted. Every day you thought useless built you stronger. Every disappointment made you tougher. Without those times, you would never stand before great opportunity without fear. Now, as opportunity nears, you will see those delays were perfect preparation. Look at yourself today. You are not who you were in rushed, careless years. You have grown, learned endurance. That is why you deserve the breakthrough ahead. You were not rejected, you were chosen. Chosen to be trained before you shine. Every delay you cursed has become a gift. Without them, you would not be who you are. Strong, wise, ready. Never forget, delay is not denial. It is proof you are on the right path, just needing time to complete. And when you emerge from the pause, you will see it was worth it. You have endured long waits and trials to realize life is not random. Everything was arranged to bring you here, to face yourself and answer honestly. What do you truly want? Not what you say to please others, not shallow goals to hide fear. I ask about the deepest desire in your soul, the one you never dared to speak for fear of ridicule, rejection, or weakness. That is the want you must name. A truth many never face. They live life never admitting their greatest longing. They convince themselves safety is enough, a stable job, a path without risk. But deep inside, their fire never dies. They try to smother it, but the more they press it down, the more it burns silently, destroying excitement and faith. You are different. If you are hearing this, your fire never truly went out. It only needs admission the moment you dare to say, "This is what I truly want." Imagine if tomorrow had no limits, no fear, no money worry, no opinions holding you back. What would you do? How would you live? What would you pursue? This is the question you must answer now. No one can decide for you. No one else can write your new chapter. Only you can. And the act of writing your desire, even in simple words, is the first step to making it real. I had to do the same. When I put all my PayPal money into SpaceX and Tesla, I knew I could lose it all, but I also knew if I didn't, I would regret it forever. I wrote my goal down, not to show anyone, but to carve it into myself as commitment. Once written, there was no turning back. Each line became a vow, a contract with myself and the universe. You must do this now. So I ask you, what do you truly want? Do not give polite answers. Dig into your heart. Maybe it is a career you abandoned, a journey you fear to begin, a free life you never chased. Whatever it is, write it down. And if you are truly ready for change, leave a sign, even a simple phrase, "I am ready to change." If shorter, just type 1. For you it is affirmation. For me it is proof of your presence. Because when I see those signs, I know I am not speaking into emptiness, but connecting with someone brave enough to admit their desire. And I am grateful. Why write it? Because words create reality. The words you choose are energy you release. When you write, "I am ready to change," you are not telling me, you are telling yourself. You are signing a contract with your future. It is the shift from vague thought to concrete commitment. Once written, you will feel a new flow in your mind. Understand this small act is not trivial. It is courage. Admitting change means admitting dissatisfaction, that you must leave comfort. That is always hard. But I learned those who dare write their true desire are the ones brave enough to make it real. Those who keep it hidden stay trapped in illusion of someday, a day that never comes. I know you may hesitate. You may think, if I write it, will I fail? Will others laugh? Ignore those questions. Writing your desire is not for judgment, but self-confirmation. This is not a crowd's game. This is personal, where you are the center and your commitment is what matters. You will realize, when you dare to admit your desire, even with a few words, you begin the path of transformation. That is the first step, and no great journey begins without it. Change always starts with honesty to yourself. So stop now, face your desire, and write it. If not ready for detail, at least leave the sign that you heard the call. I am ready to change, or simply 1. Do not dismiss this act. It may spark a fire greater than you ever imagined. And for me, seeing that sign is priceless. It tells me you are truly present in this journey. I am deeply grateful. Remember, delay is not denial. And now, writing what you truly want is the affirmation that you are ready. Change is no longer far away. It begins the moment you admit desire and send your signal into the world. And believe me, once you do, the universe will answer in ways you never expected. There are moments in life when you realize that everything is no longer moving along the old orbit. The balance that once felt solid suddenly shifts. What was familiar becomes strange, and new doors begin to open in ways you never expected. This is not coincidence, but a reorientation unfolding in your life. When this comes, you cannot continue to see it as a small gift, a single opportunity. This is a total shift, a structural change you cannot resist. It does not just bring personal gain, it requires you to step into a larger role where your influence can reach more people than you ever imagined. You need to understand that reorientation is not like the small rewards you may have received in the past. It is not just a new job, a bigger paycheck, or a better relationship. It is much deeper. It is the universe's arrangement to pull you out of the narrow road where you have been confined too long and place you on a broader journey aligned with your true scale. It is the moment your position in the bigger picture changes. You are placed on higher ground, not to prove yourself, but because there are tasks only you can fulfill at that level. I have experienced this many times in my life. I am Elon Musk, and I can tell you that without reorientation, there would be no SpaceX, no Tesla, none of the projects you know me for. In the beginning, my path was not directed towards sending humans to Mars or creating an entire electric car industry. I started as a software engineer, as someone seeking opportunities in the world of technology, but life kept pushing me out of the old orbit. Failures, detours, doors slamming in my face. These were the ways the universe reoriented me, leading me into journeys far greater than I first imagined. Had I clung tightly to the familiar, nothing would have changed. But each time I allowed myself to shift, I stepped onto a higher plane, where responsibilities grew, but so did meaning. Reorientation always begins with signs you may not want to acknowledge. A job no longer excites you. People you thought would walk with you forever begin to feel distant. Habits that once brought comfort now leave you stagnant. All these are signals that you have outgrown the frame you are living in, and when you try to stay, you feel heavier, as if life itself is reminding you that it is time to move. The hardest part is you often think you are losing. You see relationships crack, opportunities vanish, and you assume you are failing. But truly, it is clearing space. When the universe reorients you, it must clear the old to open the new. What leaves you is not essential for the picture ahead. In fact, their absence is necessary for you to step into the right position meant for you. Remember, elevation is not just a reward. It is a call to greater responsibility. You are not lifted up just for your own benefit. You are lifted because a greater impact awaits. Some need you to stand higher so they can see the path. Some need your presence on another level so they can find hope. That is why reorientation cannot be seen only through a personal lens. It is part of a larger network where each of your steps influences many others. It is part of a larger network where each of your steps influences many others. I know that when you feel reorientation, the first sensation may be confusion. You feel pulled out of comfort, pushed into challenges you never thought you'd face. Yet it is in those very moments you discover your true capacity. Not when you are at ease, but when you are forced to change does your hidden strength rise. And once you pass through, you will never want to return, because you know you no longer belong there. You must view reorientation not with fear, but with trust. Trust that everything is arranged precisely, that what you lose is only the shell no longer fitting, while what you gain will align perfectly with who you have become. The universe never rushes, but it never errs. Each piece is placed carefully, so that when the time comes, the entire picture is revealed. There will be a moment when you sense the irreversible shift. You walk into a room and know you are no longer the same. The way you speak, the way you perceive problems, the way you move, it is all different. Others will notice even if you say nothing. That is the sign reorientation is complete. You have not just entered a new season, you have become the season itself. From here, your journey will never be the same. Responsibilities will be greater, challenges larger, but your influence will also deepen. Reorientation never makes you smaller. It takes you to the place where you can fully express your potential and leave lasting impact. And you will understand that every arrangement, every change, every shift was designed to bring you to this point. You do not need to force it or rush. All you must do is be ready to follow when life shifts you. Trust you are being placed in the right place at the right time. And when you look back, you will see that reorientation not only carried you somewhere better, it transformed you into someone new, stronger, wiser, and most importantly, aligned with your true mission. Have you wondered why lately the pressure has been so intense it nearly breaks you? Why everything suddenly feels harder, as if the universe tests you at every step? This is not injustice, nor a sign you are on the wrong path. In fact, the very pressure is proof that you stand at the threshold of promotion. Life has a clear law. Before every leap comes a heavy phase, where you feel pushed to the limit. Without that weight, you would not have the force to rise higher. Pressure is the refining tool. It strips away naivety, shatters illusions, and forces you to face truth. You may think betrayals, failures, abandonments, or collapse, but in reality, they are the bricks building your inner strength. Every person who turned away was a lesson in standing without support. Every silent night with a pillow wet from tears reminded you you are still alive, still fighting. These experiences are what make you unshakable. I have faced pressure few dare imagine. I am Elon Musk, and there were moments I truly believed I reached the limit. When SpaceX failed 3 times, I lost not only hundreds of millions, but trust from investors, the public, even some close allies. Feeling the world against you is not pleasant. But without that stage, without near-crushing pressure, I would not have built the foundation that carried the company to later success. Pressure forced me deeper into leadership, creativity, and unwavering faith that what I pursued was right. Pressure never comes to end you, it comes to prove you worthy. When you feel tested beyond endurance, it means you are being prepared for a higher seat. If you only lived in comfort, you would never grow. Just as a diamond cannot form without immense pressure, so it is with people. Only when you are pressed to the edge of breaking does your truest strength emerge. Remember the times you thought you would not survive, yet here you are. Each time, you did more than survive. You grew stronger. You learned to rise faster, trust intuition more, resist negativity better. That is the gift of pressure. It makes you the most resilient version of yourself. Looking back, you see every pain had reason, every crack became the support for your growth. Promotion never comes gently. If you want to rise, you must bear the weight. The paradox is, in the darkest days, you are closest to breakthrough. Pressure is not the end, but the alarm that change is near. The only question is whether you endure a little longer, trust a little deeper, or quit just before the door opens. I stood on that edge. In 2008, both Tesla and SpaceX faced bankruptcy. I could only save one. The pressure was immense, and many urged me to give up, to accept I had gone too far. But I refused to surrender. I poured all remaining money into both, knowing a single mistake meant collapse. Yet that very decision, that moment of unbearable pressure, opened the path for both Tesla and SpaceX to become global symbols. Without carrying the weight then, there would be no today. You too, what you face is not meaningless. Do not see dark days as punishment. They are the final training before the next stage. The greater the pressure, the greater the reward. Once you understand this law, you will no longer see pressure with fear, but as a sign, promotion is near. Look at yourself now. Though weary, discouraged, even desperate, the truth is you are still standing. You have not quit. That proves your strength is greater than you think. If you persist, if you keep walking, you will soon see nothing you endured was wasted. Life never tests you to destroy you, but to show you how strong you are, and to prepare you to carry what lies ahead. Pressure always precedes promotion, never forget. When you feel pushed to the edge, understand you are close to a turning point. Do not fear, be steadfast. What you wait for will come, not suddenly, but precisely when you are trained to receive it. And when it does, you will see every tear, every wound, every pain was worth it, because all prepared you to step into the new place where you truly belong. Have you noticed recently how so-called coincidences keep happening around you? You run into an old acquaintance just when you need a reminder, you stumble upon a quote that clarifies a problem haunting you for months, or suddenly you feel a surge of desire for change stronger than ever before. These are not accidents. They are signs, fragments of destiny scattered along your path, guiding you to where you must be. When you are aware, you realize everything is aligning, signaling a major shift. Signs never arrive loud or flashy. They come as small details, subtle enough that only the attentive notice. If you are reading this, I believe you already see them. You notice repeated events, numbers, meetings, situations, as if an invisible hand is arranging. You may think it coincidence, but believe me, there are no coincidences here. Everything has meaning. The question is whether you have courage to listen and follow. I have lived these signs. I am Elon Musk, and before founding SpaceX, I was haunted by one question. If humanity cannot become multiplanetary, everything we build will eventually vanish. At the time, I had no detailed plan. Yet, signs appeared constantly. articles I stumbled upon, scientific data surfacing at the right moment, seemingly random conversations with space researchers, all connected into a picture I could not ignore. Had I dismissed it, I would have missed the chance to reshape humanity's future. And I believe you are in the same place, surrounded by signs, waiting for you to admit and act. The key is you need not force or chase them. They will come when the time is right. You do not need to shout, do not need to seize the universe's attention. You only need persistence, patience, and an open mind. Rewards never go to the loudest, but to the most consistent. With patience, pieces fall into place. Look back. How many times did you think it was the end, but a door suddenly opened? How many times were you rejected, only to find that rejection led to greater opportunity? Each time you were reminded you were not abandoned. You were guided on detours, away from mistakes unseen. Signs are that subtle guidance. Many miss turning points because they dismiss signs. They expect dramatic events to wake them. But destiny often comes quietly. A brief talk, a fleeting feeling, a sudden intuition. That is the universe whispering. Ignore it, and you drift. Listen, and the path clears beneath your feet. Picture life as a great current. You can resist, but it will carry you to the destination. Signs are small waves, showing the current is turning. When you sense them, you adjust, not to fight, but to flow. And when you do, the journey feels lighter, natural, complete. Understand, signs are not just to see, but to act upon. Seeing without change is meaningless. If you meet someone who could take you further, but walk away in fear, you miss it. If intuition nudges, but you ignore because it breaks habit, you miss it. Signs matter only if you are brave enough to follow. That choice, trusting the subtle guide, opens the awaited door. Others may not understand why you act. They may think you rash, reckless, even crazy, but remember, they do not see what you see. They do not feel what you feel. This is personal. No one else can define it. Only you know when a moment holds meaning, and only you can step when it comes. When signs appear, you cannot sit still. Act as if the change has already begun. Live as if the door is open, because it is. Inside, the shift has already occurred. It is only a matter of time before the outer world reflects it. And when it does, you will realize every signal, every coincidence was placed perfectly to bring you here. Signs are appearing around you. Do not ignore them. Open your eyes, ears, and heart. You will see life has never abandoned you. It always sends guidance. The question is, do you have courage to accept and follow? If yes, the path ahead is no longer vague. It is revealed, clear, certain, waiting for your step. Have you ever wondered why, among billions of people, you are the one who carries within you the powerful urge to do something different? Why do you feel the call resounding so clearly in your heart, while many live their whole lives never hearing it? That is not coincidence. You were chosen, and there is a reason for it. The chosen are not those who live easy lives. On the contrary, they often endure more hardship than most. You have faced moments that seemed impossible to rise from, losses that made you want to give up, dark times that made you think you were abandoned. Yet it was those very experiences that set you apart. Because to become someone who can carry greater responsibility, you need strength forged from pain, not comfort. And that is why you were chosen. I am Elon Musk, and I can tell you from my own experience that being chosen is not an easy gift. It is responsibility. When you are chosen, you cannot live like everyone else. You cannot comfortably accept mediocrity. You cannot pretend you do not hear the inner call. I once tried to live a safe life, but it quickly became suffocating, as if I was betraying myself. The urge to create something larger, to impact more people, never left me. And I believe you are in that same place. You cannot be at peace until you step into the journey you know is yours. The reason you were chosen is not because you are smarter, more talented, or naturally special. The true reason is because you persevered longer. You did not quit at the moments when others fell. You kept your faith even when all evidence was against you. You kept walking when you had no strength left. That is what made you stand out. Because the world does not just need talent, it needs willpower that cannot be shaken, and you are one of those few. Think of every time you were tested. The enemy wanted you to believe you failed, that it was over. But you did not stop. You kept rising, kept walking, kept believing. That is proof you passed the harshest selection, one that only those who persist to the very end survive. That is why you were chosen, not by chance, but because you proved worthy. When you are chosen, your responsibility extends beyond yourself. You become a source of hope for others, even those watching silently. Some will look at your journey and regain the faith they lost. Some will dare to dream again because they see you living yours. Some will escape the darkness because of the light you bring. You cannot know how many lives your actions affect, but you must understand every step carries that weight. And then, I remember when I first realized my path was not only for me. When I pushed Tesla forward, I knew it was not just a car company. It was an effort to change an entire industry, to create a sustainable future. When I built SpaceX, I knew it was not just a business, it was preparation for humanity, so we would not be confined to one planet. These things were far larger than me, and it was their scale that showed me clearly. I no longer had the right to live a small life. I was chosen for a bigger purpose, and all I could do was accept and walk it. So it is with you. The reason you were chosen is that you carry a rare combination: endurance, persistence, and the ability to see what others cannot. You do not need to know the full plan now. You only need to realize you have been prepared for something greater. Every past challenge was not to break you, but to train you to stand at higher ground. Without pain, you would lack empathy. Without failure, you would not know how to rise. Without rejection, you would never learn to believe in yourself when the world turns away. Now you are ready. The choice is no longer about whether you like it. It is whether you dare accept why you were chosen. Do you dare believe everything you endured has led here? Do you dare shoulder the responsibility the call has placed on you? Do you dare walk forward, not only for yourself, but for all who will find faith through you? Understand, being chosen does not mean life gets easier. On the contrary, it will be harder, heavier, demanding more from you. But in return, it carries meaning beyond anything else. It gives you the chance to become living proof that humans can overcome any obstacle, that persistence is rewarded, that faith can change the world. That is the reason you were chosen. You are not here to live an ordinary life. You are not here to simply follow a path already laid. You are here to carve new roads, to do what others call impossible. You were chosen to be a lighthouse in the night, not because your light is perfect, but because you dared to keep it burning when storms tried to snuff it out. And now, as you look back at everything, you see clearly, nothing was random. All was part of the process of selection. And you have passed. You are the one chosen. The moment you stand in now is not an ordinary crossroads. It is a breaking point where all you endured, suffered, and persevered through converge into irreversible change. Do not mistake this as a small chance, a temporary door. It is larger. This is restructuring, a new chapter written with the blood, sweat, and persistence you poured in. And you cannot undervalue it, because it is not only for you. Everything you are about to step into carries weight beyond personal advancement. When you are lifted, it is not only for you, but for all who look to you for hope. Out there are people living quietly, believing their dreams have died. Then, when they see you step out, they find a reason to rise again. The power of this moment lies here. It not only transforms your life, it becomes inspiration for many others. You may think you are too small to matter, but remember, light does not need to be vast to drive back darkness. A single spark at the right time can guide many. And now you are that spark. Do not underestimate your value in the larger picture. Do not think this change is just luck. No, it was built from your choices, persistence, and faith throughout your journey. I have stood in moments like this many times. I am Elon Musk, and I know the feeling of facing a threshold where, once crossed, nothing is the same again. The first time SpaceX launched successfully into orbit, I knew instantly it was not just a technical win. It was proof we had changed the game. It was a signal to the world that a private company, despite endless failures before, could achieve what once only governments could. That moment did not belong to me. It belonged to everyone who was ever told their dream was impossible. And for you, this moment holds the same weight. It surpasses the personal and becomes legacy. This moment demands a different attitude. You can no longer think or act as before. You must begin choosing as if change has already happened, because inside it has. Do not wait for the world outside to reflect it before you believe. The truth is, you must believe first, live as though it has happened, and then the world adjusts to you. Never underestimate the power of change in your actions, because from here, every word, decision, and step carries new weight. This moment is crucial because it will not return. Some chances in life come only once. You may delay, you may hesitate, but it will not wait. It is like a departing train. If you do not step on, it leaves without looking back. And then you spend years, maybe a lifetime, regretting that you lacked courage when the time called your name. You cannot drop this chance, because it defines not only your present, but your future. What matters is knowing this moment is not simply a reward for patience. It is a call for new responsibility. It forces you to think beyond yourself, to consider how you will use your influence to make impact. You are not lifted to sit idle. You are lifted to play a role. Only you can. And here you must stay alert, not falling into the trap of complacency. This is a beginning, not an end. I have seen many treat their critical moments lightly. They thought they could wait, that opportunity would return. But truth is, when you ignore a signal, you step off the orbit meant for you. Sometimes it takes a decade for a similar chance to appear. Often, it never does. So the wisest thing you can do is treat this moment with absolute respect. Receive it as though it is the only door, because in many cases, it is. Do not think this change is only for you. It is bigger. It concerns people you have never met, lives you will touch, generations that will benefit from what you do now. When you move, you open the road for them. When you succeed, they believe they can too. When you shine, you light, not just for yourself, but for those lost in darkness. This moment is convergence. It is the result of every tear, every prayer, every rise after a fall. It is the reward for your perseverance. But more than that, it is the message that you are ready for greater responsibility. And when you step in, you will see all before was only prelude. This is the real chapter. So do not undervalue this moment. Live it with your whole being. Step with faith that you are not just rewriting your story, but the stories of many others. Because in the end, the true worth of a moment is not in what it gives you, but in what it awakens in the world around you. And if you seize it, this moment will prove to all you did not live a meaningless life. You once thought the long waiting, unrecognized efforts, prayers seeming unanswered, were pointless. But the truth is, not a single moment was wasted. Everything you endured was preparation, and preparation is never wasted. Look closely, and you will see each fragment connecting to form the strong foundation for the leap you are about to take. What makes most people quit is not lack of ability, but lack of patience to complete preparation. They want results instantly, forgetting that a great structure needs a deep foundation to withstand storms. You, on the other hand, were trained in silence. The dull days, the lonely nights, all were bricks you laid quietly. And now you stand on a foundation nothing can break. I am Elon Musk, and I know the value of preparation. People see SpaceX, Tesla, and other companies' success, but few imagine the harsh preparation behind. There were years I was nearly drained, spending every second on problems no one but my team believed solvable. Failed rocket launches, criticized car designs, sleepless nights on factory floors. At the time, all seemed pointless. But looking back, I see not a moment wasted. Without preparation, there could be no lasting breakthrough. The difference between temporary failure and sustainable success lies in how prepared you are. You must look at your journey with new eyes. Rejections taught patience and humility. Long silences taught faith when all seemed against you. Painful failures taught analysis, adjustment, and resilience. Every experience was a brick. During the building, you may not see the form, but once the wall rises, you realize every brick was necessary. Think of the times you wanted to quit. Had you, all your preparation would have been lost. But you did not. You kept going, even slowly, even without results. That proves your worth. Because preparation is not just about skills or knowledge, it is training your mindset. It makes you someone who can endure, wait, and most importantly, stand firm when real storms hit. One hard truth: preparation always takes longer than you expect. People crave shortcuts, but shortcuts lead to collapse. I have seen startups rise fast on luck or capital only to fall at the slightest wind because they lacked foundation. Preparation is not wasted time. It is the only guarantee you will not be swept away when big opportunity comes. And trust me, big opportunity will come. The question is, will you have the base to hold it? Without realizing, in silence, you learn the most precious lessons. You learn to hear your true intuition instead of outside noise. You learn to distinguish what matters from distraction. You learn to trust yourself when no one else did. That is a skill no school teaches, but it is the most valuable tool for higher ground. Do not underestimate preparation just because you do not see results yet. Results come last, like harvest after seeds have been planted, nurtured, and weathered storms. You are in that stage. You planted, you nurtured, you protected. Now, as harvest comes, you will see every pointless day help the seed bloom. I remember the first time we successfully reused a rocket booster. The world was amazed. But for me, it was not just a safe landing. It was proof of thousands of hours of experiments, of countless silent failures the team endured. Without steady preparation, everything would have shattered at the first attempt. Preparation is the difference between fleeting miracle and a new era. So it is with you. Look back at your journey and know nothing was wasted. All has equipped you to hold the success ahead. Do not rush. Do not think you are forgotten. You are being built into someone able to bear pressure beyond imagination. And when the turning point comes, you will not just survive, you will rise, because the entire preparation has made you the person for this moment. The moment. Believe preparation is never wasted. It is your greatest asset. The launch pad, no opposing wind can topple. As you enter the new stage, you will see every sweat, every prayer, every fall prepared you to stand now, and you will even be grateful for the darkest days, because they forged the strength you now carry. There are stages in your life when you are forced to choose. Either keep hesitating and let the opportunity slip away, or stand firm and step straight into what you were born to do. This is that stage. You no longer have time for doubt, no more reasons for delay, and no space for hesitation. Everything you have ever gone through, the long, exhausting days, the falls that seemed impossible to rise from, the betrayals, the moments when you felt abandoned, all led to this point. Not to make you fearful, but to give you the courage to face the turning point that life is now placing before you. Standing firm does not mean you no longer feel fear. On the contrary, it means you acknowledge fear, but do not let it control your steps. It means keeping your mind steady when everything around you shakes. It means standing tall when the storm rises, not because the storm has grown smaller, but because you have grown stronger. And right now, when you feel the weight pressing down, when the voice of doubt in your head screams louder than ever, that is when you must remember, you have been prepared for this very moment. I am Elon Musk, and I have had to learn many times how to stand firm when everything seemed on the verge of collapse. I remember in 2008, when both Tesla and SpaceX were on the edge of bankruptcy. Investors pulled away, the media attacked, and in my account remained only a small amount, not enough to sustain both companies. That was the time many told me I should choose one to save and abandon the other. But I knew that if I gave in, if I collapsed, the entire dream would shatter. I chose to stand firm, placing all the last money I had to keep both alive. It was a gamble many called insane, but had I not stood firm then, Tesla and SpaceX would have died in their infancy and today would never exist. You too are in a similar situation, maybe not with billions at stake, but with your own life. This is the time you must stop bowing to criticism. Stop letting doubt hold you back. You need to stand firm on your own feet. Believe in the journey you have walked. No one else can do it for you. No one can give you certainty if you do not believe in yourself. This moment does not come to ask whether you are afraid, but to ask whether you dare remain steadfast despite the fear. Standing firm also means acting as if what you have been waiting for has already become reality. Look at the way you choose today. Do you decide as someone living in defeat or as someone who has already stepped into breakthrough? Do you speak as one still doubting or as one who knows their value? Do you move as someone waiting for a miracle or as someone who understands that they are the miracle? Every action you take from this moment must reflect the truth that you are ready. Many people think that once the opportunity comes, they will automatically stand firm, but the truth is the opposite. It is the persistence in unseen days that allows you to stand when the spotlight shines. And you have had such days. You have risen after many failures. You kept faith when everything opposed you. You kept walking when your only strength was willpower. Those things are the proof that you had already learned how to stand firm before this moment arrived. The most important thing now is that you must believe you are worthy. Do not undervalue yourself just because your journey looks different from others. That difference is what makes you stand out. Do not think you must wait longer, prepare more, or become more perfect before you are allowed to move. No, you are already prepared enough. Any delay now is only fear in disguise. Remember, opportunity does not wait until you feel comfortable. It comes only when you are brave enough to move forward, even while trembling. I know that feeling. When I decided to pursue the dream of electric cars, I had no certainty. I did not know if the market would accept it, if the technology was ready, if I had the strength to stand against a gigantic industry that had existed for centuries. But I still stepped forward. I stood firm against doubt, mockery, and loneliness, because I knew that if I did not do it, no one else would. And today the world is witnessing the result of that persistence. You too, just by standing firm in this moment, will open a new chapter, not only for yourself, but for many others. Do not mistake standing firm for never wavering. On the contrary, you may be swayed, you may stumble, but the important thing is you do not fall. You know how to regain balance, how to draw back strength when needed, and keep moving forward. That is all that matters. Because when you remain steadfast, the universe begins to align itself with your energy. You will see more opportunities arriving, doors opening faster, and everything beginning to flow in the direction you desire. This is the time you stand firm, not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. Everything you have ever wished, ever prayed for, ever worked toward has led you here. You no longer need to prove anything to anyone else. You only need to prove to yourself that you are worthy. And when you do that, the whole world will see. Every reward in life comes with an equivalent responsibility. If you truly desire to step into a new height, you must be ready to carry the duty that comes with it. This is not a warning, but an evident truth of every great journey. The more you receive, the more inner strength you need to manage, preserve, and use what you have in the right way. When opportunity opens, you are not only elevated in position, you are entrusted with greater responsibility. Many often mistake reward as simply the end of a hard road, like a consolation prize. But the reality is completely different. Reward is not the stopping point, but the door to a new path where responsibility multiplies. When you stand at a higher place, you no longer live only for yourself. Every decision, every action of yours begins to affect many others, and that is the true measure of success. I am Elon Musk, and I once deluded myself into thinking that just creating a great product was enough. But then I realized when you lead, thousands, millions place their trust in you. They watch every step you take, and within that trust lies expectation, even survival. When SpaceX launches a rocket, it is not only my dream, but the work, the future of thousands of engineers, workers, and their families. When Tesla releases a new model, it is not only design or technology, but also the livelihood and hope of those who believe in a sustainable future. The reward I receive, trust, recognition, is at the same time the weight of responsibility I cannot neglect. You as well. When you enter the flourishing stage of your life, you must understand reward is not just personal satisfaction. It is preparation so that you can carry more. Every new power requires you to use it consciously. If you have more wealth, you must learn to manage and share it wisely. If you have more influence, you must learn to use your voice to lift, not to crush. If you have more opportunities, you must learn to choose without losing your essence. This is why many collapse right after achieving a great accomplishment. They thought reward was everything, but when responsibility appeared, they could not bear it. They longed for glory but did not prepare for its burden, and then they were crushed by the very reward they sought. I have seen this many times. Entrepreneurs with rapidly growing companies but without leadership depth. Artists who become suddenly famous but lack the courage to sustain creativity under the spotlight. People who win big in life but are swallowed by wealth without wisdom. You cannot fall into that trap. You have been prepared to understand reward always comes with responsibility. Welcome it with clarity. Do not think responsibility is a burden blocking you from enjoying success. On the contrary, responsibility is proof you have truly matured. It proves you have transcended selfish ego to become part of something greater. In this moment, you must ask yourself, am I ready for the reward not only to be for me, but also for others? Am I ready to turn my rise into inspiration, into hope for those around me? Because if you only indulge in victory and forget responsibility, then that victory will soon fade. But if you realize responsibility walks with reward, that victory will become the foundation for you to go even further. I remember clearly the moment after SpaceX first successfully landed a reusable rocket. It was an achievement the whole world called a miracle, but I knew that the next day, responsibility was far greater. Now we had not only proven the impossible possible, but we had to maintain it, develop it, expand it to transform the entire industry. The joy of victory lasted but a moment. After that came questions, plans, new responsibilities, but that is what kept the victory from vanishing, turning it instead into a launchpad for another era. You must also learn to see it that way. The joy of achieving a milestone is wonderful, but it is not the destination. The true destination lies in what you do next with that reward. Do you use it to strengthen yourself, to help others, to open new doors? Or do you let it pass like a fleeting moment? Your responsibility is to turn reward into lasting value, not only for yourself, but for the world around you. Remember, no one gives you a reward just so you can sit and enjoy it. Life does not operate that way. Rewards are given so you keep moving, so you prove you can hold them. And when you prove that, you will be entrusted with even more. This cycle never ends. That is how the universe selects those truly worthy of carrying greater responsibilities. To receive the coming reward with gratitude and awareness, understand it is not only compensation for what you endured, but an entrustment for what you are about to do. Responsibility always walks with reward, and if you stand firm, if you walk with persistence, then no reward will be too heavy for you, because your responsibility is proof you were chosen to go even further. There is a truth you cannot deny. You are not living only for yourself. Everything you have experienced, every wound you have borne, every tear you have shed, has never been meaningless. They turned you into living proof of the power of persistence, of the value of faith, of the truth that if one dares to rise after failure, dares to keep walking when all doors close, then miracles will happen. You are living proof of that. You need to understand that no one is chosen by chance. People do not call you the chosen one just to comfort you. You are chosen because your life, though harsh, has gathered enough evidence to become an example. Others may speak about faith, but you have lived it. Others may preach about perseverance, but you walked in darkness unseen by anyone. Others may talk about strength, but you fought silently and did not give up. That is why you become living proof. You do not just speak, you embody what you speak. I am Elon Musk, and I know the meaning of becoming living proof. Many think what I do is only ambition, only technology, only gigantic projects. But the truth is, each time I walked out of failure, I became proof that humans can touch the impossible. When SpaceX rockets failed 3 times in a row, I was at the brink. The media mocked. Experts said I would go bankrupt. Many waited for me to collapse. But the 4th launch succeeded. And that moment became undeniable proof that persistence can change destiny. I did not only talk about never giving up, I lived it and became proof the world could see. You too are in that place. You may not realize it yet, but the eyes of those around you have already begun to change. They see your persistence, they see how you stand again after so many falls, and in silence they begin to believe they can too. Remember, you do not need to preach to inspire. Your very existence, the way you live, the way you walk through trials, is already the strongest reminder. Becoming living proof is not only glory, it is responsibility. Because when you become proof, you no longer belong only to yourself. Every step you take, every choice you make creates impact. Others will find strength in your story. They will find hope when they see you not fall. And so you must live with higher awareness. You must recognize that what you do does not end with you, but ripples out to those who need a spark to keep walking. Think of a moment when you thought you could not continue. Then you still chose to walk. That very moment you unknowingly wrote a new chapter, not only for yourself, but for those who will hear your story. You may not realize it, but someone is watching you. Someone is observing how you overcome trials. Someone is asking whether they can do the same. And when they see you, they will have the answer, yes, I can too. The world does not need more hollow speeches. The world needs more living proofs. And you are one of them. You do not need to be perfect. Do not need to win every battle. You only need to truly be yourself, a person who has fallen, risen, learned, and kept walking. That authenticity is more powerful than any words. I remember the early days of Tesla when people mocked the idea of an electric car. They said it was a joke, a fantasy. But when we released the first Roadster, when it rolled on the road with speeds surpassing expensive sports cars, the world was forced to change its view. Tesla became living proof that a sustainable future was no longer a dream. And from that moment, not only did we rise, but an entire industry began to shift. Living proof has the power to pull the whole world forward. You too have that same power. Whatever the scale, your life, your persistence is a declaration that miracles do not come from outside, but from the way you choose each day. You may never know all who have been inspired by you, but trust that every step you take leaves a mark, and those marks are shaping a path for others. Becoming living proof is not a burden, but confirmation that you truly walked through fire without being destroyed. You came out of the fire carrying light to guide others. And from here, as you continue your journey, always remember, each time you stand firm, each time you choose persistence, each time you dare to move forward despite darkness, you engrave another undeniable proof that humans can transcend all limits. You are living proof, and no one can take that away from you. There are times in life when you feel that everything suddenly falls into place, as if the entire universe is breathing in rhythm with you. That is the moment of convergence, when the inner world and the outer world collide, when what you have nurtured in silence begins to be reflected into reality. This is not coincidence. This is the culmination of every experience, every choice, every drop of sweat and tear you have ever shed. And when it happens, you know that nothing can be reversed. The moment of convergence is like a breaking point. It does not come from sudden luck, but from long preparation. You have gone through days when everything seemed motionless, days when you only felt the dull repetition, as if life had forgotten you. But in truth, that was the time when the pieces inside you were being put into the right places. And then, one day, when everything is enough, the picture will be revealed. You will see yourself stepping into the right place at the right time in the right role. I am Elon Musk, and I know that feeling well. When I started with SpaceX, many laughed. When I talked about reusing rockets, they thought I was crazy. But after countless failures, after moments when I nearly lost everything, the first successful landing happened. It was not just a scientific event, but a moment of convergence, decades of nurturing, thousands of sleepless nights, layers of pain and doubt, all gathered into a single second when the rocket touched down safely. I knew immediately, from that moment, the aerospace industry would never be the same again, and I, along with my team, had stepped into a new, irreversible chapter. The moment of convergence always carries that nature. It is not noisy, it does not need showmanship, but it is powerful enough to change the direction of your entire life. You will feel the change not only on the outside, but also within you. At that time, you no longer need to persuade yourself. You know, with certainty, that you have entered the right orbit. Like a door opening, you realize that everything before was only preparation for you to have the strength to walk through this door. The interesting thing is, the moment of convergence often comes when you least expect it. Not when you are impatient, not when you are anxiously waiting, but when you are calm enough to walk as if it has belonged to you all along. That is the difference between someone unready and someone matured. The unready sees an opportunity and worries whether they deserve it. The matured walks into opportunity as if it is the natural part of the journey. And when you have been prepared through hardships, you will belong to the latter. You need to realize that the moment of convergence is not just for you. When you change, your environment also begins to change. Doors once locked suddenly open. People who once doubted now come to you. Opportunities that once avoided you now appear right in front. This is not distant magic. This is reflection. The outside world always adjusts to the frequency your inner world emits. And when your inner self reaches synchronicity, the outer world automatically rearranges to match. I have experienced many moments of convergence like that. With Tesla, it was when the world began shifting towards sustainable energy, and we no longer had to run after to persuade, but the market itself proved that direction was inevitable. With Neuralink, it was when research once seen as distant began attracting global interest in the connection between humans and artificial intelligence. Each moment felt like coincidence, but in fact, it was the result of years of persistence. You too will have such moments. You will realize that suddenly what once exhausted you becomes precious assets. The wounds that once made you cry in silence become lessons guiding your wisdom. The failures that once broke you down become evidence of your strength. All combine, creating the moment when you no longer doubt. You have stepped into the place where you truly belong. The most important thing is, when the moment of convergence comes, you must be brave enough to step into it. Many recognize the signals but hesitate. They wait for assurance, for a promise from life. But this moment does not come to promise. It comes to challenge you. Do you dare believe in yourself? If you walk, you will see the door wide open. If you hesitate, the moment may pass, and you will have to wait for another cycle. You must remember, the moment of convergence is not the end but the beginning. It does not come to say you are done, but to say now you are truly ready for the new journey. All that was once just seeds will now sprout. All that was once dreams will now become reality, and you will become the living proof that faith, persistence, and tireless effort are always rewarded at the right time. I firmly believe that you have been and are moving closer to your own moment of convergence. You will know when it arrives because everything will begin to align. You will feel as if you have returned to a place that has always belonged to you. And when that happens, remember, you are not only changing yourself, you are opening a door for others to follow. The moment of convergence is the most precious gift the journey gives you. It proves that no pain is meaningless, no failure wasted, and no patience in vain. Everything has led you here. And once you step through, you will never be the same again. There is a moment in the journey when you realize, whether you want it or not, you have moved away from the old version of yourself, not because you deliberately denied it, but simply because you no longer fit it. The thoughts that once troubled you now seem small. The relationships that once held you back no longer resonate with your inner rhythm. The limits that once bound you now feel like clothes too tight. You cannot return to fit them again. That is the moment you have stepped out of the old version, and you know clearly that the road ahead will not allow you to return. Stepping out of the old version is a silent but powerful transformation. No one sees it immediately, but you feel it deeply. You begin to act differently. You speak with confidence you once only imagined. You decide faster, sharper, because now you are no longer ruled by fear of loss. Instead, you are guided by clarity. That does not mean you have changed into a completely different person. In fact, you are only becoming your true version, one you have long suppressed. I am Elon Musk, and I know this feeling well. When young, I was surrounded by voices of doubt. People told me not to pursue rockets, to focus on something more realistic. They said Tesla would fail because no one wanted electric cars. For years, I carried others' doubts along with my own inner struggle. But at one point, I realized that my old version, the one anxious, hesitant before doubt, was dead. I could no longer return to compromise with that fear. I stepped into a new version, where belief and boldness became fuel for action. You are the same. You may not name it yet, but you are living in a new body of yourself. Think of how you have faced challenges recently. Remember, before, even a small setback could keep you sleepless for nights. But now, even when storms hit, you remain strangely calm. That is the sign you have stepped out of the old version. You no longer let yourself be controlled by fleeting emotions. You have trained to stand firm, to act from awareness, not from fear. When you step out of the old version, you will notice natural separations. Some relationships fade not because you hate them, but because they no longer align with your new frequency. Some habits vanish, not because you force them, but because you no longer find value in them. Some thoughts disappear, not because you forget, but because you have surpassed the need to cling to them. This is natural evolution, and most importantly, you must accept the truth that not everyone can walk with you into the new stage. I experienced this separation when SpaceX succeeded. Those who once called me delusional fell silent. Some friends no longer resonated because they wanted safety and comfort while I continued reaching for Mars. It once made me lonely, but then I realized loneliness is part of stepping out of the old version. You cannot keep everything old while entering a new domain. And you must be strong enough to accept that, face the truth, stepping out of the old version means you will never return again, and that is good. Think, how many times have you wished to become stronger, more confident, wiser? Now you are that person. So why cling to what once made you doubt yourself? The truth is, the old version existed only to prepare for the new one. It is like the shell of a seed, necessary for protection, but it must break so the plant can grow. You must remember, stepping out of the old version does not mean denying the past. On the contrary, you are grateful for it, because without those days, you would not be strong enough today. But you no longer live in the past. You carry only the lessons, not the chains. That is the difference. And once you step out of the old version, everything begins to change. The world reflects you differently. Others sense new energy from you, even when you say nothing. New opportunities come not because they suddenly appear, but because you are now ready to recognize them. Even your inner voice changes, no longer whispering fear, but resonating certainty. I want you to understand, this transformation is permanent. You may remember your old version with gratitude, but you will never live in it again. And that is the gift. Because you have evolved, you have overcome, you have become living proof that humans can change at the root. You have stepped out of the old version, and you need no one's permission to do so. You need no recognition from anyone. As long as you keep living as this new version, you will realize that everything you once dreamed of now begins to orbit around you. This is not coincidence, but the synchronicity of inner and outer. Leave the old version behind like a finished chapter. From now on, your story will be written by who you have become. Stronger, wiser, freer, and no one can take that away from you. There is a moment in the journey when you realize that nothing will ever return to the way it was. You have reached the boundary, crossed it, and now the road behind has disappeared. This is the irreversible moment, where you are no longer the person of the past, where you cannot go back to live small, hesitant, or waiting. And strangely, you no longer want to go back. The irreversible moment does not arrive like a noisy storm. It comes with quiet certainty. You begin to feel deep peace inside, a stability you never had before. You no longer need to convince yourself you are capable because you have proven it through experience. You no longer ask whether you are worthy because what you have been through has already given you the right to stand here, and from here, your life only moves forward. I am Elon Musk, and I have experienced such moments many times. When we succeeded in launching Falcon 1 after 3 bitter failures, that was an irreversible moment, because after that day, the world could no longer dismiss SpaceX as a failing gamble. They had to see us as a true force. No one could turn back the clock to deny that moment. It marked change not only for me, but for the entire aerospace industry. You too will have such moments. They may not come from grand events, but they etch into your mind as indelible milestones. One day you will look back and realize, from that moment, you were no longer as afraid. You no longer let others' words dictate your steps. You no longer bowed under pressure. Everything changed in silence, but powerfully enough to be irreversible. This moment brings an interesting effect. You begin to see the world differently. You no longer ask, can I do it, but begin asking, how will I do it? Doubt turns into strategy. Fear becomes fuel. Obstacles become problems to solve. You no longer run from challenges, you walk straight into them because you know only challenges open the next door. Remember, the irreversible moment also means you cannot return to safety zones. That is why many fear it. When you enter this stage, you realize all bridges behind are burned. You have no road but forward. But that makes you stronger, more focused, more resolute, because you know retreat is no longer an option. I once lived this when I decided to put all my wealth into SpaceX and Tesla simultaneously. It was a gamble many called madness. If I failed, I would lose everything. But I knew if I wanted to change the world, I could not play safe. And when those projects began to succeed, I knew I had crossed a threshold I could never return from. From then, I could no longer live as a normal entrepreneur. I had to live as a builder of the future. You too. Once you have overcome what once crushed you, you cannot return to live as the old self. You cannot pretend you do not know your inner strength. You cannot hide the light that has ignited in you. And you cannot compromise with darkness again. That is the truth of the irreversible moment. You are forced to live in your greatness. This moment also means people around you will react differently. Some will admire, come to you for guidance, but some will feel uneasy because your advance reflects their stagnation. Do not let that shake you. Remember, you do not walk to please everyone. You walk to fulfill the mission you were born to. And once you reach the irreversible moment, you realize the only loyalty you need is loyalty to your mission. This is also the time when every decision you make carries greater weight, because now you represent not only yourself, but the belief of those who follow, those inspired by you. You can no longer live half-heartedly. Every step, every word, every action deepens the truth that you have entered a new stage, where you cannot be dragged back, cannot be erased, cannot be denied. Think of it as a train. Once it leaves the station and accelerates, you cannot jump off to return. You must go on, and you begin to realize that with every kilometer, a new world opens ahead. That is the miracle of the irreversible moment. It forces you forward, but also grants you horizons you never imagined. You are in it, or about to step into it. Embrace it, not with worry, but with gratitude. For it is the sign you have truly matured, that you have passed the trials, that you are ready for greater mission. Once you realize this, fear fades. Instead, a quiet strength rises, reminding you that you have gone too far to turn back. The irreversible moment not only changes you, it changes those who see you, who sense new energy from you, who realize that if you can, they can too, and thus your change becomes a spreading flame, lighting paths for others. And when you step into it, remember, you are no longer the one asking if you are strong enough. You are the proof that the strength was always within you, waiting to rise. Now, as you move forward, nothing can reverse this journey. You have gone too far to turn back. And that is the sign you are right where you belong. Every great road in life has a clear marker, but never mistake that marker for the destination. The moment you are touching now is not the ending, but the beginning of a new chapter, where everything you have been through was only preparation for what truly matters ahead. If you believe life is only about reaching one victory and then stopping, you will soon feel empty. But if you realize that each success is only the foundation for the next door, you will never stop advancing. And I am Elon Musk, and I know this more than anyone. When SpaceX first put Falcon 1 into orbit successfully, it was a historic milestone. Many thought I would feel satisfied and stop there. But for me, that moment was only the opening, because as soon as Falcon 1 flew, the bigger question arose. What next? How to conquer Mars? How to expand humanity's frontier? I did not see a period. I saw a wide open door leading to bigger questions and greater challenges. You too are in a similar situation. Do not see the present success as the destination. See it as a sign you are ready for an entirely new stage. Every step you have walked was not for pride and rest, but to build the capacity to bear the next responsibility. Greatness is not in achieving one accomplishment, but in never ceasing to be reborn, never ceasing to begin, never ceasing to challenge yourself. The truth is, many stop when they just reach the milestone. They think they have arrived and then live in old glory. But time shows them that light fades quickly. Life never stops, and if you do not continue, you will fall behind. That is why I believe what matters is not how far you have gone, but whether you are still ready to begin again at each new step. Face this truth. You are being given the chance to enter another chapter, and it looks nothing like anything before. What you did was only the premise. All the tears, sleepless nights, failures, and small joys built today's foundation. But today is not for ending. Today is for you to open the door, to go deeper into the greater journey. This requires a fundamental shift in thinking. Instead of asking, when will I achieve what I want, ask, what will I do after achieving it? Instead of seeing success as peak, see it as springboard. That is the only way to keep motivation and growth. When Tesla reached milestones many thought impossible, I did not see ending, I saw signal that humanity could go further in sustainable energy. I saw each achievement as reminder that much remains undone. You too must see your life like that. Every victory you just achieved is not period, but beginning of bigger mission. Now you must ask yourself, where will this new beginning take you? How will you use this opportunity? Will you only enjoy it or use it to build something larger, not just for you, but for others? The answer decides how you live the rest of the journey. Remember, the world does not need more who stop at first finish line. The world needs those brave enough to see every victory as a stepping stone to walk into the next journey. The world needs you to go further because you will inspire others to restart, to challenge themselves, to step out of safety. This is the beginning, not the end. And that means you must walk with the spirit of a beginner, ready to relearn, to err, to be patient like the first day. You must keep curiosity, persistence, and the belief that the universe never brought you here just to stop. For me, the view is clear. Living is never-ending expansion of borders. If you stop, you begin dying, even if breathing. Live so each day feels like new beginning. Remind yourself you were not born to reach one milestone and settle. You were born to endlessly redefine yourself. So my final advice, never see present success as final reward. See it as invitation to a new game. Use your strength, intellect, experience, and scars to create a worthy beginning. And when you do, you will see that this journey never truly ends. Because every ending is only disguised beginning. This is not the end, this is the beginning. And you, ready or not, have already stepped into it.